Welcome, everyone. My name is Patrick Elwa. I am the president and CEO of Complete Care IT. We're a technology company. We've been around over for 30 years. We specialize in IT security. I have here with me today one of our top senior engineers in IT security is Eric. I'll let Eric go ahead and introduce himself.
Hello, my name's Eric Williams. I'm a security analyst here at Complete Care IT.
Thanks, Eric, for being here today. I'm really excited, folks. This is our first ever webinar, so we're both kind of excited, right?
Yep.
So we're going to go ahead and get started with some poll questions, right? I am curious to how many people in our audience today have been impacted by some type of security breach. So that's going to be our first poll question, Eric. How many members, if anyone at all, have been impacted by security breach? If you have, please go ahead and vote, because I'm curious. That's how we get information, so we know which topics that we want to go ahead each and every month to talk about.
Absolutely.
All right, now, guys, last week we had a situation where the team received an email that had my name, Patrick Elwa, but a different email address with instructions for them to go out and purchase gift certificates. Can you talk about that, Eric?
Absolutely. So what happened was it was actually a really poor attempt at a phishing attack. Essentially what the hacker did was they sent an email with your name as the display name, but when you looked at the actual email, it was some random email from a Gmail account. And they requested that we go out and purchase digital gift cards and send you the codes to send to our customers.
So this, I believe it's called spoofing, right? Is that the name?
That's a very poor attempt at a spoof attack.
Is there anything I could have done, Eric, to prevent that? Or a better question would be, did I do anything to cause this spoofing attack?
Actually, no. Really, a spoofing attack is based off of knowledge that they are able to publicly gain to try and trick or manipulate the users into providing information, or in this case, gift cards, or sometimes it's clicking a link, things like that.
Great. Hey, by the way, did any of our guys went out and purchased gift certificates?
Absolutely not.
Great.
We would not fall for that.
Glad to hear it. Okay. What are some of the attacks that you have witnessed being carried out on our customers? And I want you to be blatant honest. It's okay. I give you permission. Actual attacks on our own customers. I want to be sincere with our audience here.
Well, we have very good security that we've provided to our customers. So a majority of the time, the only attacks we actually do see are attempts at, different types of phishing attacks. We saw, I won't say the customer's name, but a customer of ours was tricked into wiring about $37,000 to a foreign bank account.
I remember that. That was very scary. I thought we were going to get sued. Can you elaborate on that and share that story with the audience today?
Absolutely. So essentially what happened was someone outside of their organization was breached. They were able to get their access to their email. And by going through their email, they were able to see, okay, so they emailed this person to, request wire transfers. And through that, they spoofed an email. Made it very similar. I think it was about one letter off.
One letter off. That's all it took.
And they saw that come in and they said, oh, we need to, send this money to this account. And they did it.
Wow. I remember that. That was a nightmare. And it turned out it wasn't even us. It was one of their vendors, right?
Correct. The vendor had been breached.
Right.
Yeah. And they were able to pull the information they needed to figure out who to spoof and who to attack.
Maybe they should have hired Complete Care IT.
Yeah.
Okay. Why are phishing attacks so dangerous compared to other methods of hacking?
So essentially a phishing attack is considered the easiest attack to perpetrate because, like most of our clients know, we put in place a large number of security protocols and procedures to prevent them from being breached, between the firewall and all the different security measures we take. But a phishing attack relies on human error rather than, equipment error. And that's why it's so dangerous. Because if I send you a couple emails, get you talking to me just about whatever, I can learn, other people in your organization. I know what you reply to now, and I use that to start to engineer an attack throughout the organization.
So you're literally phishing for a user to click on a link.
Click a link, send money to the wrong place. Say we had been talking once or twice, and I'm like, here, I'm going to send you some documents, and I send you the link where it says, go ahead and sign in here with your username and password. Now they've got your username and password.
Wow. That's scary.
Absolutely.
That requires a lot of research on the part of the hackers.
Absolutely. Now, the best thing you can do to prevent that would be something we call multi-factor authentication.
Okay. I've heard of MFA. I know it's very popular. Let's talk about that.
Absolutely. So I'm going to go ahead and throw up a poll real quick. And I want to see, what of our users actually use multi-factor authentication on their
That
accounts.
would be, I'm curious to see, because I know that's a difference maker in terms of some of the actions we can take to protect our customers against these hackers.
Absolutely. So essentially what multi-factor authentication does, though, is, let's say that last scenario I gave you where, someone sends me secure documents, right?
Right.
And it says I need to sign in. And I think I know the person that's sending them, but I'm really getting tricked.
Right.
So I go ahead and sign in, and now they have my username and password. And what they don't have is the code that's generated every time I sign in. So even like I could give our audience today my username and password to my email. They'll never get into my account because they don't have that code set up on a secondary device that only they have access to.
So in essence, MFA is a second layer of security.
Absolutely.
I'm seeing this a lot at all our banks now. So when I log in to a payroll account or operations account, after entering my username and password, they're sending me a code on my phone. If I don't have that code, I can't get in.
Absolutely.
So now I enter the code. So it's a combination of credentials, username and password, plus the code.
It's like a second password almost.
I love it. Wow. Can you think of any reason why someone would not have MFA enabled?
In this day and age, there is no reason not to use multi-factor authentication if it's offered by whatever services you're using.
Folks, if you don't remember anything from this webinar, you have to remember multi-factor authentication. It could save your organization. Whoever is responsible for IT, you need to ask them, hey, is MFA enabled? If not, please have them enabled it. If you need help, give us a call. We can certainly help you with that. Now, I've got to ask you about social engineering because that's the buzzword. It sounds fancy. What is social engineering, Eric?
So social engineering is that umbrella term that covers all the different types of phishing attacks, whether it's, like you've said in the past, tracking a package, click this link to track a package, or send some money to this account to complete the order that we put in, or even something as simple as like, have you seen this? Like, I need your help. Can you pick up some gift cards?
Right. It's getting the user to do what the hacker can't do.
Correct.
Right. And that's where the social engineering comes from. You're engineering a behavior or an action from the user.
Absolutely.
And again, that requires a great deal of research on the hacker to know what would take for this user to click on this link. If they know I receive a lot of Amazon packages, I might get an email that says, "Hey, you've received a package. Can you click here?"
Yeah, absolutely. If they look into your, email history and see that you've got a ton of Amazon packages coming to your, business or house, they might use that as their approach.
So common sense kicks in here. So if you're not expecting a package and you get an email asking you to track a package, that's a no-brainer, right? Just
Correct.
delete the email. Is that what you need to do?
Absolutely.
That's interesting. And again, it comes down to user training.
Absolutely. It's 100% user training.
So often we focus on firewalls, we focus on equipment, and if we don't invest in user training, we're not going to be successful in this. We're not going to win this battle.
Correct.
That's great. Now, I read this article that cybercrime is more profitable than the global drug trade. I just couldn't believe that. How is that even possible?
Unfortunately, in this day and age, that is very true. Essentially, when it comes to cybercrime, it's very simple to perpetrate as far as what you need to get going. Whereas, the global drug trade, there's hundreds of employees, there's, production set up, the smuggling, with cybercrime, you don't lose product. You don't have to worry about anything. There's very low risk to it because you just need a laptop and an internet connection. You can do it from your bedroom.
In your pajamas.
In your pajamas.
And no one is shooting at you.
Yep, that's the best part. It's a lot safer for them to perpetrate cybercrime in this day and age.
So, folks, you've heard it yourself. These guys are making a boatload of money. They're willing to invest their time to do the research. They're coming after you. They're coming after your data. They're coming after your employees. So you need to invest and use the training to make sure that you're not a victim. So now this next one here, this is the perfect question following to lead into here. If you think about it, ransomware, why is it so dangerous? We're just talking about how lucrative the business is. Let's dive right into the big one, ransomware, where they hold your data hostage. You either have to pay to get it back or not pay. Can you talk about that, Eric?
Absolutely. In my opinion, ransomware is easily the scariest of the cyber attacks because not only do they encrypt your data, they'll also take a copy of it, which they can sell later. They'll charge you to get it back. And then most importantly, they might not give it back once you pay.
You're telling me you can pay the ransom and still not get your data back?
Absolutely.
That is scary. Truly, truly is. Wow. So what are we to do? I mean, if you think about it, paying is not the answer, right?
Correct.
So should someone in our audience, what can they do to protect their organization against from becoming a victim?
So the best thing you guys can do, those in our audience, best thing you can do is absolutely have a backup and test that backup. Make sure that you can restore that backup when you do need it, if you ever do. That's by far the only thing that's going to save you from a ransomware
Eric,
attack.
that sounds easy, but it's easier said than done. And I'll tell you why. Everyone I've ever spoken with about having a backup, the answer is yes, we have a backup. But so often when they go to restore the backup, it fails. And the reason it fails is because it was never tested.
Correct.
So the problem is not backing up. We're backing up, but we're not testing the backup. There's not someone in the organization that's championing the job to make sure that the backup is valid, is good, and when we need it, it's going to be there for us. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So essentially, one of the things we do here is we test the backup weekly. All of our customers are, I believe we require them to have a backup actually, don't we?
That's a requirement to be a client of Complete Care IT.
Absolutely.
You must have a valid backup.
And then we take that very seriously. We test every backup weekly and make sure it can be restored, make sure it's backing up properly, just to ensure the integrity of the data should the client ever need it.
That is great. If you don't have someone in your organization that's responsible to test your backup periodically, you need to have a meeting and assign that job to someone. You don't want to wait till there's an emergency, so you need that backup to find out it doesn't work. If you don't have the resources or you don't have the people to do that, we can help you. Or a company like Complete Care IT can help you. But just backing up is not enough, folks. You need to be restoring that data, checking it, making sure it's valid. Should you find yourself in a situation where your data has been encrypted and you're being required to pay a ransom to get that data back, your only saving grace is going to your backup. Would you say that's accurate, Eric?
Absolutely. It's a good example is like that fire extinguisher that everyone has under their sink. It sits there for years, you never use it. Most people don't actually test or refresh their fire extinguishers regularly. So let's say 10 years down the line, you've got a grease fire and you need to put it out. And guess what? You pull that fire extinguisher out and it doesn't work. You're kind of screwed.
That's a great analogy. I love that analogy. As a matter of fact, I need to go home and look at the data of my fire extinguisher to make sure it's good and it's functioning. But I love that analogy. That's what happens. We need to test, verify, so when the emergency comes, we're ready. We don't want to find out during the emergency that we don't have a backup. Now, with the pandemic being what it is, so many of us are working remotely. We're working from home, right? And you know it, I know it, and the hackers know it. So let's talk about that. We can't have a security webinar without speaking about remote users working from home. And oftentimes they're under the impression that the firewall that they receive from their cable company, whoever that might be, is sufficient. What can you share with us? What can you elaborate on to explain to them what they should be looking for?
Absolutely. So, like you said, if you've got internet home, then you're getting a firewall from your cable company, most likely, 95% of the
time. Right.
This firewall is the bare minimal of security. These cable companies aren't worried about you or your data. They're worried about, giving you a product that you pay for monthly. So if you're going to be working from home, the best thing I can recommend is a virtual private network to connect to your office with.
Is that what they mean by the VPN?
That's what a VPN is.
Okay.
A virtual private network.
Now, there's this one analogy you use all the time about having your private road. Right? Can you use that? I love that analogy.
Absolutely.
Explain that to us.
So think of the firewall at your home as a security checkpoint. When you're driving from your house, you get on the highway. It's unprotected. There's cars all around you until you get to work, and then you're back at, a new secure location. So the virtual private network essentially attaches your house to your office with your own private highway. There's no cars around you to cause an accident, to hit you, and think of that as your data traveling down that highway. You want your data to be safe as possible.
That's my favorite analogy, guys. Think about it. You have a private road. You're not sharing the road with hundreds and thousands of other drivers. So it's a much safer drive from your home to the office. Your data is protected, it's encrypted, it's less likely to be compromised. So if you don't have a VPN, again, get value from this webinar that we're having. Make an investment, get that VPN, get on your private road, get off the public highway. It's not safe, okay? So I love when you use that analogy. So listen, I wanted this webinar to be 15 minutes or less. So I don't know how much time we have left, but we have to do a really quick recap here. So
Absolutely.
the last question I have for you, right, is give me 4 main ideas of security, Eric, that our audience here can leave with, to know here are the 4 things that they can do to help make their organization safer.
Absolutely. So the 4 main things you want to remember when it comes to security, besides an antivirus, obviously, because that comes standard now with everything, Windows even includes it, is you want to focus on having a good firewall that's set up and secure for your business. You want to have multi-factor authentication enabled wherever you can for your business. This will help prevent phishing attacks and human error from occurring, where your data is now sensitive and open to the public. 3, a good backup. Always have a good backup in place and test it regularly, because you never know when you're going to need that data. And 4, if you have anyone working from home, a virtual private network is almost a must. You've got to protect the data of your organization going from your secure office to someone's unsecured home office.
And not to mention, those home users love to go work at Starbucks, right?
Oh, that's the worst thing you could do.
They love jumping on that public Wi-Fi. Mm-hmm. And if you have a VPN, they can do so safely.
Yes, absolutely. Having a VPN will help protect you and your data from those public Wi-Fi, so you can work comfortably at Starbucks without having to worry about, your company getting breached.
Great job, Eric. Guys, quick recap. All right. A firewall, a VPN, enable MFA, and make sure you have a good backup. We define a good backup as a backup that's taking place and being verified by someone in the organization by performing a restore on a regular basis to make sure that the backup is good. Hey guys, before we move to question and answer session, I want to thank, first of all, Eric. He did a phenomenal job, and all the other team members of CCIT that helped us put this webinar together. Mm-hmm. I also want to say thank you to Tico Casamayor and his son Matthew with AC Graphics Digital. They really stepped up and helped us out, because we're IT people. We've never done a production before. These guys brought us lighting. They took pictures for us. They were a game changer for us. So absolutely. Thank you guys. And Mo, our sales coach, he was very helpful and helped us. It was his idea actually to do this webinar. So everyone that's helped made this a success, I thank you. To our customers who've supported us for the last 30 years, we are so grateful for you, and we want to continue to earn your business every day. Now, I hope you found this webinar was value. It was a good use of your time. If you did, I ask you to share with a friend, share the link with a friend, invite them next month, where we'll be speaking on digital currency.
That's correct.
That's a hot topic, right? Mm-hmm. I know we all made some money off Bitcoins. So how should you be considering digital currency for your organization? How can that impact your organization? It's going to be a great topic next month. We want to have these the first Thursday of every month. So first Thursday in April, we would be meeting here at the same time. Please share with a friend if you found this to be valuable. And at this time, Eric, we could go ahead and grab some questions, right?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions. And, again, thank everyone for attending. I hope you found it as informative as we did.
Man, I had a good time doing this.
Yeah,
all right?
Absolutely.
It was good. I hope we add value. We brought value. All right, guys, have a good one.